Hey everybody, welcome back to Cody Tarot. I'm your tarot reader, Cody. So for today's pick a card, we're going to be doing a pretty straightforward reading. It is Who is Your Soulmate? So we're basically going to be covering the most important soulmate that needs to come across today. So especially if you're the type of person who you know you have more than one soulmate in your life, this is just going to be the soulmate that's probably the next soulmate coming in, or the soulmate that's the most important. It's just going to depend on the individual situation. But this is your soulmate, and we're going to be covering that in the reading today. One more thing, I am going to be pulling animal oracle cards for each of these crystals. Just so you guys have an idea, if you want to pick by favorite animal, you can do that. Just to give you another options besides the crystals. But yeah, these are the crystals in front of us. Let me draw the animal oracle cards now. And okay, so we already have one right off the bat. For this fairy stone, we have the panther spirit. Reclaim your power. So, and for the other two, for the tangerine quartz, we have bat spirit. And for the blue lace agate, we have the koala spirit. So take all the time you need to pick your group. You can pause the video here if you need to. Actually, let me show you the crystals up close first. And then pause the video if you need to if you need more time. So this first crystal is called fairy stone. That's group number one. And then group two with the bat spirit, this is the tangerine quartz. Oh, the camera's doing some funky stuff with this crystal. And then with group three, we have the blue lace agate. And once again, the animals are panther spirit, bat spirit, and koala spirit. So now if you need to pause the video here, if you need to make your selection, you can meditate on the choice if you need to. Whatever way gets you the most accurate reading is the correct way to pick your pile, pick your crystal. So with that said, we're going to get right into the reading starting with group number one, panther spirit with the fairy stone. Hey, group one, this is if you picked the fairy stone, and we have your card, panther spirit, right there. So let's get into your reading. So you guys are, if you've picked group one in the past, sometimes you know this is my experimental group. I have, I'm trying to figure out how to lay out the cards and stuff like that. So let's get right into your reading though. We're gonna pull some archetype cards, I think, to start. I'm gonna be incorporating this panther spirit card into the reading. But let's see, prostitute, interesting. Let's see, let's get one more archetype card. Let's see, we also have Prince. Okay. I also want to pull a Wisdom of the Oracle card to get this person's main journey, and we have Imagine. And I also want to pull a Love Story Oracle card. I think I'm going to pull two just to get the dimensions of this connection. Let's see. The Love Story Oracle card. This card wants to come out. We have Support. And I'm going to pull one more. This card wants to come out. It is Self-Worth. And last, I'm going to pull some tarot cards for this group. I think I'm going to pull 6 total. I feel like giving this pile a good shuffle, or this tarot deck a good shuffle. So I'm going to do that. And we'll get right into the reading. Okay. this card wants to, both of these want to come out, and I think they're going to want to come out upright right here. So we have those, and pull one more. These all fitting on the table. You have the 9 of Cups over here. I'll flip those over in a second. You know, just because I feel like filling up the whole table, I'm going to pull a Crystal Wisdom card for you guys as well. I can get these out of the box. Okay, so let's do that. You have Pneumite. I am strong in mind, body, and spirit. And this is what the crystal looks like. Kind of a dark crystal, very similar to the panther. It kind of reminds me of the panther's fur. So we'll put that right there. Oh, it kind of fits. There we go. And let's pull over the rest of your tarot cards. We have the Ace of Pentacles, we have the Queen of Pentacles, and we have the 6 of Cups. Let's get into your soulmate. Wow, okay. So I'm going to get right into the reading. There's a few things going on here about your soulmate and their transformation or their journey they went through. First thing with Panther Spirit, reclaim your power. This is kind of a common theme. And one thing that I'm seeing is if you picked this card based on what it said below, reclaim your power, this is something that's a common theme with you and your soulmate. Because what I'm seeing with them, there's a few different things. I'm kind of seeing like the way this reading's being laid out. And honestly, sometimes when I do these readings, I'll think of a certain topic and then it'll lay itself out. And it's like going through that kind of like a certain thing that they've gone through, basically. Like right now, this is going through like a transformation process, right? Like we have kind of them over here, and then we also have them over here after they've kind of transformed, and kind of after they've met you, as that these two interlocking hands or holding hands right here. I'm seeing this is after they meet you, or kind of the abilities that you kind of help them with that support card. So one thing that they've had to learn on their own, Prostitute right here says, accentuates the challenges of surviving without negotiating the power of your spirit. It's interesting because I feel like this person, you know, we have prostitute here, and the term I'm a whore for money kind of comes into play here. I feel like this person did a whole bunch of like hustling, like really working hard, trying to make tons of money in the beginning parts of their life or as they progress through life. I feel like one of the reasons why your souls are meant to kind of coalesce is because with this 9 of Cups here, that always reminds me of gratitude. And I mean, this guy, he's just very grateful for all these cups. You know, there's a treasure chest behind him signifying abundance, and there's all these floating cups and this bright light behind him. I'm seeing this as kind of the tail end of your connection with this person. And I feel like with this soulmate, you're meant to teach them about gratitude, being grateful for what you have and how you create that wealth, or like what is considered wealthy as well. You know, I feel like your soulmate on one hand was the type of person who they only viewed money as wealth, right? They only viewed kind of like the ability to make money as wealth, or, you know, and there's other ways abundance can manifest in your life is what I'm seeing. So one thing with prostitute, I feel like kind of what's coming to mind is kind of like someone who is kind of, this is coming through as a metaphor. Keep this in mind. This is probably not what they actually went through, but a prostitute will sell their body to get money, right? But I'm seeing this as kind of that typical story of the prostitute feeling like used, or like in a way because they're treating their body like a commodity or an object. It was a journey for them to get this self-worth, basically to reclaim this self-worth. You know, there was something metaphorical about that story that I just explained that applies to their life. For most of you, it's going to be something where this person just really enjoyed making business deals and was really focused on money for a really long time. And in a way, it weakened them because, metaphorically speaking, that was kind of their essence or their body. It's like they were expending their energy and they didn't realize, you know, one of the things that's interesting is this person may have been somewhat of like a salesman in the past or something like that, or someone of that kind of was just trying to get money at no matter what cost, you know, trying to climb that career ladder no matter what cost. But they really looked within themselves and kind of learned that self-worth is this journey, right? So for example, with the Ace of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles, this person, some of their natural talents, you can think of this as more like South Node stuff, and this is more like North Node stuff. Some of their talents with the Ace of Pentacles is to strike up new business contacts. They're really, really good at this. And with the Queen of Pentacles here, they're really good at managing groups of people on a financial realm, right? With the woman having her eyes closed here, I see that they're also kind of intuitive. We see that again here with the Imagine card. So your soulmate is someone who has that business savvy, right? They come from a background of business savvy. So whether they kind of struck out on their own and kind of made money on their own, or they came from a family that instilled those values in them of money, I feel like this person, money has just been a big part of their past. I don't think it's a part of their life anymore. I think it's still a part of their life, but they don't put an emphasis on it. They don't let it control them. They don't let it give them power, or they don't let it take away their power, basically. It's interesting because a lot of people, there's that term money is power, and for this person, it's interesting because they learned that they thought having money would make them powerful, right? And we have Panther Spirit here, reclaim your power. It's like they thought it would make them powerful, but they soon realized chasing after money, working with money, it was something they didn't really appreciate in the long run. With Six of Cups here, they kind of had this awakening because they had someone from their past come into their life, and this person from their past, interestingly enough, for some of you, this could be you re-entering their life. The soulmate could be someone that you met when you were very young, and this person's coming back into your life. This would be someone that you met when you were really young, like a childhood friend, or even this soulmate could represent someone who's like a person from your childhood who struck out on this struck out is probably the wrong word. They went out and went on this money journey, right? Before kind of realizing that what they wanted was something different. What they wanted was more something of their past or their nostalgia or something that felt like home or comfort, right? We have some cup energy right here in the kind of transformation points of this reading. And one thing that I'm seeing is this is not you, this is something that you're also going to remind them of if they've already gone through this transformation. So for example, if you're not the childhood friend they encountered, this is going to be a childhood friend that they encountered that inspired them to get this self-worth, right? And this childhood friend kind of points out to them that they seem different. They seem like they're not themselves. And they say it maybe in a good way. They maybe say it like, oh, you seem a lot different. You seem more businesslike, or you seem more, tough, or you seem, and it's interesting because I'm seeing that this friend from the past, and this could be you, if you relate to kind of showing people who they truly are and reflecting that image back at them, this could be you. Because we see this with the self-worth card, with the hand holding the mirror. Your soulmate gets this kind of epiphany, right? They get this kind of realization that money is not all there is to life, essentially. And with this self-worth card, it's interesting because they realize that there are so many things that they forwent in their childhood, or there's so many things they didn't get to do because they were so focused on making money and accumulation and just accumulating more and more and more, right? They didn't really get to, they kind of looked at their life. You see this child with his dog and he's kind of grown up to this older man, but they kind of have this kind of sad feeling, right? Because it's almost like they didn't really get to live their life with their values intact, or do things that they really, how do I put this? They really wanted, when looking back on their life, they wanted to live it a different way. This friend was important to them. Even if this friend is you, this friend is important to them, or you're important to them. And they look back and they think like, well, I would have met so many different people that maybe I would have had more fun with. Or maybe I would feel less drained, or maybe I would, if I looking back on it, I could have been feel more energized, right? So they go through this transformation and with reclaiming their power, right? And I think this is a time where they're going through a lot of a spiritual awakening in their life. And with Imagine here, this is interesting because when they start looking back on the nostalgia of their past and kind of where they came from, and kind of analyzing it a little bit, what got them to where they were, the things in their childhood that they maybe missed out on because someone else got to do them and they didn't because they were so focused on either their career or their development in that way. they kind of start developing this imaginative side to themselves. So for example, they might start reading more fantasy books, or they might start watching fantasy television or something like that, or they might get into really imaginative things where they get into creative writing, where they're writing stories and characters, and they soon learn that these stories and characters become an integral part of their health and their well-being. It causes them, in a sense, to reclaim their power with the Panther spirit here. We also have a master number 44, indicating that this was a powerful transformation for them. This was kind of a transformation that was kind of divinely guided, and it's kind of a beautiful thing because they really get in touch with their inner world here, and their self-worth is kind of being gained because instead of kind of looking in the mirror and seeing this kind of tired person or this person who is like drained on the outside, it's like their physical appearance gets re-energized, I guess, from this kind of epiphany, with this imagined epiphany. And I'm strong in mind, body, and spirit. They gain a lot of strength from this transformation. I'm saying ultimately, the reason this person's in your life, the reason this person's your soulmate, is they are supposed to support you on your journey and you are supposed to support them on their journey. It's kind of like a mutual exchange. And I see that on one level, it's like they used to be very practical and money focused, and they probably didn't have that good of an imagination growing up through their life as they were so focused on accumulation. But now that they found a new way to kind of like make things happen in their life, right? Romantic charm and potential for power indicates that you two, when you get together with your soulmate, you guys are like that power couple. I'm not really sure if you guys are romantic or not. That's kind of why I pulled these cards, but it's not really showing me exactly if you guys are in a romantic situation or not. But there is a feeling of support. There is a feeling of power and a sense of kind of palpable power in this connection. You know, I feel like this person really gets in touch with what they believe in, and they're willing to fight for it with the Knight of Swords. I definitely see also that your connection with this person energizes them very, very much. Like, this person is able to get a lot done. It's interesting because I see them kind of going back into some money-making avenues with their lifestyle because they just have that energy to do so. You know, they're at once imaginative and forceful. You know, the Knight of Swords is also about arguments. It's about using your logic to kind of conquer things, or to kind of take things down or out or something like that. I definitely see they feel this sense of power in their ability to argue and use logic, basically. Their imagination fuels this ability even further. It's interesting because I'm seeing a few things. I'm seeing on one hand that they kind of have this very peaceful, docile side where they can be really imaginative and relax and take time off. But when need be, they are able to stand up and fight for what they believe in. I definitely see with this imagination too, it fuels this ability for them to turn their Nine of Swords anxieties into Nine of Cups opportunities and possibilities and things that kind of are their dreams come true, you know? Where Six of Cups is really about, in this reading, is about losing those dreams that you once found worthwhile, you know, kind of dreams that, looking back on your life, it's interesting. This person has a way of taking their regret on what they didn't do and how they didn't live, and through their imagination, turning it into a plan for the future on how they want to live, right? They take their regrets, they turn them into a blueprint, and they make them happen. And I don't think that they would have that easy of a time doing this if it wasn't for you. I think somehow you guys really enjoy imagining things together. I feel like this person is someone who, if you are into magic and stuff, you can cast money spells with, you can cast abundance spells with, whatever you guys want to bring into your life, you can use that. I think one of the big issues too, I feel like it's interesting because I feel like you will be very abundant with this person, but one thing that I'm seeing is with this prostitute card and this money stuff, it's like they were really good at accumulation, but they didn't really know how to live their life and enjoy their life and have fun in their life. And with this Imagine card, I'm definitely seeing you help bring that out in them. You help bring out that imaginative side in them. And they already are going through this transformation. It's just a matter of, and that's the thing, the reason why you guys aren't kind of in each other's lives with this situation, with this when they're in this position, right, is because they have to come out of this realization on their own. And it's interesting, for some of you, you are this friend from the past, and it's kind of like through this realization, through showing the mirror of them, they change. And for others of you, they had this epiphany through someone else that they met and they changed. But because they are turning into this imaginative person, that's what kind of connects both of you. That's kind of what bridges the distance. I still feel like, just like with the South Node and the North Node, South Node being skills that you can have and you can access pretty easily, they'll be able to access that ability to make money, and I think they'll do it from time to time. But the truth of the matter and what they're growing towards is this ability to turn, wealth into abundance. It's making your money work for you. It's interesting. I feel like they have a stronger sense of values, is kind of what I'm seeing. And with the Prince card, romantic charm and potential for power, I'm definitely seeing this person has a royal nature to them, right? Where before they felt drained and exhausted and tired, and they were just constantly working to make ends meet, And the thing is it's almost like they had enough, but they felt like they didn't have enough. And so here with the Prince card, it's interesting because I feel like they're really in their power here and they really can get things done. And in different ways than they used to be able to get things done, without compromising their integrity, with maintaining their ability for like their self-esteem, essentially. With this self-worth card, that's really the transformation they went through. And they end with this I am strong, mind, body, and spirit. So your soulmate's journey is really a journey of reclaiming their power. That's kind of where they came from and where they're going from and how they connect with you. I definitely see that they might enjoy like little arguments with you or debates with you, kind of taking the opposing point of view and kind of sharpening your guys' skills with each other mentally. I'm seeing that with this Nine of Swords, they have this beautiful way of transmuting anxiety into wishes, into gratitude, into wishes fulfilled. I think on one hand, you're really going to help them with that as well. I think at that point when they're meeting you on their journey, they're learning to be grateful for a lot of things in their life, even their past that they maybe look back on and they're like, man, I wish I didn't do that. I wish I didn't have those, prostitute tendencies where I would just drive myself to the bone trying to make money. I feel like on this one hand, it's like you help them realize that even the dark times in their life were positive times. I mean, they couldn't have gone through these dark times without looking back and kind of realizing that, wow, because I have these regrets, I'm just going to turn these regrets into a battle plan for the future, for all the things that I'm going to do, for all the things that I want to accomplish. That's kind of the really beautiful thing about them, is they really have this ability to reclaim their power. It's interesting because you guys picked the Panther spirit, and if you picked it because of the phrase reclaim your power, I see that you probably recognize this journey as one that kind of mirrors your own in weird little ways. Like, I feel like people watching this reading may have realized that maybe they didn't maybe they, instead of driving themselves crazy for money, right? Maybe you guys worked yourself to the bone trying to maybe get the perfect physical appearance, or maybe you worked yourself to the bone, just trying to make it work with this one lover or this one partner that you had, and just killing yourself trying to serve them. What I'm seeing here is with the support card, there is mutual support in your connection with your soulmate. And that's really important. And I want to emphasize that because with the two different colored hands here, I'm seeing you guys are very different, but at the same time, your journey is very similar. The kind of journey of reclaiming yourself and getting that self-worth is similar. So if you're watching this reading thinking that, parts of it sound like you, parts of it don't sound like you, and you're kind of curious about that aspect of the reading, that's why. It's because that's how it's, with this soulmate, that's kind of the part of the journey that you guys are meant to be on. And with that, reflecting on the past, the Six of Cups, I mean, this card's very important, the Six of Cups energy. I think reflecting on the past is something that's going to bring you guys a lot of joy and a lot of connection, especially when you connect on past events that you never got to do. Like, man, there was this one party that my friend invited me to and I missed out. And, I'm going to give you guys a good example. Okay. So my mom, when she was, growing up and stuff, I don't know if you guys have heard of Woodstock. It's like this big hippie festival in was it the 70s or 69? I don't remember the time period that Woodstock happened, but she almost got this opportunity to go to Woodstock, but she missed out on it. And so she looks back and sometimes she thinks I could have gone to Woodstock, So it's one of those situations where it's looking back at what you didn't do, you guys can really find like gold in that into what you can do and what you can utilize, because, you know, regrets really, you know, they're not regrets if you can still do them. You know, like they're not regrets if you can turn them into a battle plan for the future. And that's kind of what I'm seeing you learn with this person. I really see you guys having like an imaginative world with each other, like discussing dreams with each other. I see that this is like really beautiful, and I see that maybe you guys play or do make believe with each other, almost like kids do, or like if this is like a, you know, sexual connection or something like that, you guys might do a lot of role play or something like that as well. But yeah, so that was your reading. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I really enjoyed giving you this reading. If you liked this reading, please like or comment below. If you really enjoyed this reading, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I post pick a cards like this once every 1 to 2 weeks. With that said, we're gonna move on to group 2 with the Tangerine Quartz. Thank you guys again for letting me read for you. Hey, group 2, this is if you picked the Tangerine Quartz. Is it still doing that weird? No. That was weird how it was like just, the focus was like, the camera was like doing all this weird stuff. Maybe there's some kind of like crazy energy that interferes with technology and this connection or something like that. I don't know. Maybe you guys relate to that. I know sometimes when I've had like someone at my house who's like, I have certain friends that are more like, they seem more magical or mysterious, and sometimes when they're at my house, like my technology stops working, or like there's glitches in computers and stuff when they're around. So just crazy stuff like that. I wonder if this kind of like soulmate kind of makes crazy things happen, or maybe the opposite. Maybe this soulmate kind of helps you with that stuff, makes technology work more efficiently. Maybe their powers work in the reverse or something like that. Anyway, that's just a little message that I'm thinking of right now. I want to pull more cards and get the full clear picture of this person. Yeah, yeah, archetype cards. Let's get these over here. Okay, I'm going to pull 2 archetype cards. Whoa. Okay, so these 2 cards want to come out. We have Hedonist and Mediator. And I also want to pull a couple love story oracle cards. I was using this to get the connection, but it turned out it talked more about the story between both partners in the last group. So we'll see what this represents in this reading. This one wants to come out. We have friendship. Okay, so that makes sense. The soulmate coming through is going to have a strong influence of friendship to it. And we have daydream. Interesting. Okay. Let me pull a wisdom of the oracle card, and then I'm going to get into the tarot cards, and then one more crystal wisdom, and then your reading. Sorry, I'm doing a lot of cards today, so bear with. Please, thank you. Let's see, we'll pull this one. Go the distance. Oh, I'm seeing things already. It's crazy because the way I do tarot readings, like I know a lot of readers, they'll pull as they go, and I do a lot of readings like that. Like if you've ever bought one of my Who Will You Marry readings, you know I pull as I go for that reading. But basically for these readings, I like to lay everything out and get the whole picture and like see the whole situation, because you never know what kind of patterns can connect and influence other patterns, you know, while you're doing it, or while you're trying to look over everything. So it's kind of like I'm seeing things for this group, but I don't want to say anything yet because I want to make sure that put that right there, that you know, I want to make sure I get the whole picture first. Okay. These cards I'm pulling right now have kind of like a tense energy to them. The ones I'm on this side, I'm going to pull from another section because, yeah, these have like a lighter feel. The tarot cards have kind of like a heaviness to them. So I wonder if that's going to influence the reading at all. And lastly, I'm going to pull a crystal wisdom card. Okay, let's see. What crystal wisdom card does this group need to... This one wants to come out. This is kind of the color of your stone. It's kind of this chalky, like lime green. And the stone is chrysotile. Chrysotile. My power animal supports, guides, and loves me throughout my life. Wow. Very cool. I will honestly say that I've never gotten this card in a reading before. So you guys are the first ones to get this card in a reading. Okay, let me flip over the rest of the tarot cards and I will get into the reading. We have the Wheel of Fortune, Four of Wands, and Two of Wands. And then we also have the King of Pentacles and the Six of Pentacles. Just because this talks about a power animal, I want to point out two animals that I'm seeing here. We have a cheetah right here, and we have a wolf right here in the King of Pentacles. So I just want to point those out because it did mention power animals. So maybe those are significant animals to you. Maybe, oh, and we have the bat too up here. So maybe cats or wolves or bats are significant for you. But let me look this over a little bit longer and yeah, then we'll get into the reading. Okay, let's get into it. So your soulmate, I'm gonna talk today in today's reading a little bit about their journey and kind of like where they're like before they meet you and kind of how they are after they meet you. And this is kind of like, for them, this is kind of like their transition point. It's kind of the transformation they have to go through before they meet you, basically. So yeah, let's get into it. So with hedonist here, your soulmate was a partier, basically. They partied a lot and they probably partook in, you know, substance use and just maybe they were just very wild, I guess you could say. They just had a very wild side to them. They indulged a lot. If they didn't use substances, it was indulging with food. They probably overate like crazy all the time. They were just constantly like indulging. And with the Four of Wands here, they like to go out and get experiences and they like to celebrate. They almost wanted to have fun at all costs. And it's because with the Daydream card here, her fantasies are covered in this dark cloud, right? And they're coming out of her eyes. I think that one thing this person struggles with is aspects of the light and dark sides of their nature. We see that here with the wheel with their dark energy and the light energy. And I think that it kind of, because it was out of balance for the longest time in their life, it was such a struggle for them to find stability, right? And they had this kind of mindset that was like, if I can't find stability, then I'm just gonna stay unstable, right? Like if I can't find stability in, you know, anyone or anything, if I can't latch on to anyone or anything, I'm just gonna, you know, not be stable at all. Like I'm just gonna forget about stability completely. So they kind of had this idea of like, I'm just gonna party and have fun outwardly and have this really good time outwardly, while on the inside suffering from these kind of like dark daydreams. This person may have had kind of like intrusive thoughts, or they may have had kind of like dark imaginings of things that like probably most people wouldn't want to think of, and they probably just couldn't help themselves and they started thinking of these things. I feel like sometimes in some cases they would indulge thinking in these thoughts because for them it was like their only solace, if that makes sense. It was the only thing that would like, I don't know how to explain it, like it would help them get by, if that makes sense, like just these dark fantasies. And it's interesting because they kind of had this paradoxical attraction to their daydreams. But at the same time, this kind of partying lifestyle fueled that kind of dark inner world, right? And the one thing that I feel like they didn't really like about this partying lifestyle is it was a real drain on them. And one thing that there was no sense of permanence, right? There was no sense of stability. We see that again here with the wheel, where the fortune, the wheel of fortune for them was just spinning around and around, you know? One moment they're up, one moment they're suffering, one moment they're ecstatic, one moment they're down, you know? There was no stability, if that makes sense. You know, there was no completion, you know? The wheel, interestingly enough, if you look at the major arcana as a tarot card deck, right? Well, it's interesting because on the traditional deck, the wheel also has all the fixed signs on it, but there's animal heads to represent all fixed signs on the world card, right? And the wheel's the opposite side of the world card. It's literally like if you cut the deck in half or you lay out all the cards in a line, the wheel and the world card are exactly opposite each other. So in some ways they parallel each other. Like if you put the major arcana in a full circle, they're opposite on the circle. So they kind of parallel each other, but the wheel's interesting because it's like a change in fate. And for the wheel, it's the way it's coming out in this reading is like an instability that they really didn't like. With the Two of Wands here, they really kind of got into this mindset, and one of their kind of transformations, was kind of like they just, it's interesting. They went through a period of time where they didn't, they kind of just surrendered and they said, you know what, I'm just going to go all out and I'm just going to be this hedonist. I'm going to eat whatever I want. I'm going to smoke whatever I want. I'm going to drink whatever I want. I'm going to do whatever I want. And they had this kind of mindset of just indulging in all the worst things in life, right? Now, they went through this period with the Two of Wands here where they had some time away. I don't know if they got sick or they had some kind of thing happen, but they weren't able to go out and party. They weren't able to go out and celebrate with their friends and go on the next high, right? And they also weren't really they were having kind of a low, but I'm seeing that they had this more ruminative aspect to them when they were in this position. If you look at this woman, she's in this house and she's looking out this window, but she's looking out at the world around her, right? And she has the world, like she's dreaming of doing things in the world, but she's in her home. And what this is representing for your person is that they had this moment where they were stuck at home and they kind of looked out and they longed for the parties and they longed for the experiences that they were missing. But the thing is they soon realized that they wanted something deeper in life. That longing, their daydreams, it's funny because their daydreams started to purify, right? They stopped having these dark fantasies and they started having hopes and dreams and feelings for the future of like, well, what could life be, It's very similar to the transformation process in group 1, but it's also very different because one thing that group 1 had, they learned through imagination that they kind of got different, moved on in their life. But this person, interestingly enough, learns that they have to leave behind their daydreams and their fantasies to move forward in life. They know that their daydreams at this point in time were very dark thoughts and they were slowing them down and they needed to get out into the real world and do productive things. And the thing is they wanted to kind of stop the partying because they kind of realized that connection that, it's kind of one of those things too, where when you stop one activity and you kind of get your head screwed on straight for 6 months or something like that, you really get a sense of perspective on what your life was like and how your mindset was different. So really with this Bat card, a rebirth is assured is one of those things that is kind of true for them in this regard because they really had an ability to self-analyze, and the Bat spirit also kind of reminds me of the Hangman because he's upside down. And that is kind of a moment of reflection or a moment to take a pause with the Hangman and look at your life from a different angle, a different perspective. And that's exactly what they did. Once they got this clear vision of their life, they started making more productive choices in their life. And the interesting thing here is with Go the Distance, they really started thinking of the long game, right? With all their connections, with all their friendships, with all their people that they were dealing with, right? I think on one hand, these dark fantasies started to subside when they stopped partying so much and stopped indulging in just everything. When they really got a handle on their hedonistic impulses and kind of put themselves on more of a schedule. The Two of Wands can also indicate plans, right? And kind of a sense of organizing or making plans for trips or making plans for projects or something like that. And so what I'm seeing here is there's a sense of organization that this person had. Now, my power animal supports, guides, and loves me throughout my life. I definitely see that this person, one of their things that changed them was having a experience with the power animal of some kind, or having some kind of, maybe they have an animal companion like a dog or a cat that supported them through this time, that was at home with them while they were learning and growing through this process. And that animal was a transformative animal for them. It kind of helped them through those tougher transitions. You know, this could be just an animal, like I'm seeing some animal that they had to deal with when they were at home. So this could be something along the lines like a chirping bird outside their window, or maybe they, on their drive home from the market or something, they saw kind of like a coyote cross their path, or even a wolf in some cases, because I'm seeing a wolf being really important here, and so is the cheetah and the bat. But anyway, I'm not really getting too much indications of how they meet you. But one of the things that is interesting about them is they have this way, and I think one of the reasons why maybe they partied so much and indulged so much is because they have a way of not being able to deal with conflict in their own life, you know. And I definitely think that one of the interesting things is here is we have mediator, and this is kind of representing you. It's representing them too, but it's also representing you and your connection with them, right? With friendship card here, I see that this person and you, whether it's going to end up being romantic or not, this soulmate in particular is meant to be a best friend. This is someone who's supposed to be there with you thick and thin for all time. That's what we have here with Go the Distance, you know? One of the things that solidifies their choices in leaving this lifestyle behind was you. It was kind of the idea that when they met you, they got this kind of vision for the future, right? And with Go the Distance here, this is indicating like a long period of time, or thinking in the long run, you know? Go the distance makes me think of go the distance in life. Go the distance with this connection. I feel like a lot of their past connections, they didn't really have them for too long, or they were all based situationally around partying. There was no real deep, intimate connection they had with another person, and they really get that deep, intimate connection with you. I feel like with mediator here, one thing that they are mentioning is that, or that's coming through that they want to say, is that with mediator, it's like they say that like your connection, the thing that it brings them is like a sense of peace, right? And they know that both of you can get through whatever conflict it is through solving it through this mediation kind of ability, right? I feel like both of you, with this saying, gift for negotiating fairness and strategy in personal and professional life, respect for both sides of an argument. It's interesting because I feel like they have this ability to kind of like mediate you have the ability to mediate differences with each other, you know? I think another thing too that's coming through, I'm reading this shadow attribute, and at first when I read it, I was like, it doesn't apply to this situation. But I'm seeing it kind of in the opposite way, kind of pointing out something that is something that, you know, you guys don't do. You know, with the shadow attribute, it says negotiating with an ulterior motive or hidden agenda, either personally or professionally. And it's interesting that it says shadow attribute, and I'm seeing these daydreams as shadowy. I feel like in their old lifestyle, they may have had ulterior motives or hidden agendas with personally or professionally with people in their life. And I feel like now they're able to negotiate, but without that kind of ulterior motive, you know, without a battle plan, you know, instead of having something that they're working on and, you know, having an end game and trying to manipulate events to get to this specific outcome, right? I feel like they look back at this past of them or how they used to be with this particular aspect in a very negative light, because I feel like they used it to get, whatever it is that they were struggling with the hedonist card, whether it was drugs, alcohol, or just a food addiction, shopping addiction, anything that like, you know, caused them to overindulge, they would do whatever they could to get this thing, right? And they had this ulterior motive of trying to get this thing, you know, or this hidden agenda of trying to get this thing. But now with the mediator card, they are just good at negotiating because they like to be that person that's that middleman, right? And you're in a way similar to them. And I think that's why you guys get along, is because you both don't have ulterior motives. It's like when they meet you, they see someone who is pure and doesn't have like a hidden agenda. Like there's something about you that makes them think like, wow, like this person just is a peacekeeper or a peacemaker for just the sake of keeping the peace, you know? And it's something that I think surprises them. And it's something that really bonds your friendship together. I mean, I see these two people as like very, very close, you know, very interesting. And they're very similar. And one thing I'm noticing is they're opposite sexes. One's a man and one's a woman. So this friendship, it's interesting. You guys might have a lot in common. Like you might have a lot of common interests, a lot of common things that you really enjoy. But as far as divine feminine and masculine energies, one of you is probably more divine feminine and the other one's probably more divine masculine. And that's kind of one way that you guys complement each other in differences. But other than that, you guys are very similar. You're almost like the same person. And that's kind of really cool with this soulmate connection. It's like, in a way, kind of like a twin flame vibe, but it's not quite as intense as that. With King of Pentacles, I think something that they're pointing out here is something that with all the books in the background and him holding this pentacle and him being this older man, right, with gray hair and the wolf representing wisdom, I see this person is really seeing you as a friend that they want to spend the rest of their life with. I mean, one thing that is interesting is they see you guys growing old together, and it's something that's interesting that, most friendships don't think of their other friend as someone they want to grow old together with, but this friend in particular loves you so much that I'm about to cry. Oh my gosh. You really represent that rock in their life that keeps them from having that unstable lifestyle again. They know they can ground themselves in you, and with Go the Distance, this is where they're really seeing with you specifically that they want a long-term future. They want to live a very long life because they know every experience they'll get to experience it with you. They're no longer just like, throwing the wheel of luck to the winds or whatever and kind of just doing whatever they want, there is this energy of like commitment with this person. And it's interesting, the friendship cards coming up, because I feel like this is just someone that is a soulmate, that is supposed to be a really good friend. It might be someone that maybe like, in a past life, you guys were married in a lot of your past lives, but in this lifetime, you decided to be friends because maybe there was another soul or another person that was coming in that was supposed to be your either husband or wife or your life partner, and this person was just meant to be that kind of like really close friend. So I'm definitely seeing that. It's interesting because we also have the Eight of Cups here, where it shows that they want to run away with you. They do want to escape with you. And I think one of the things that's important is they want to escape with you and share with you. With the Pentacles card, I am thinking of finances. They want to share kind of like finances or practical concerns. We see that again here with the King of Pentacles, but especially with the King of Pentacles in the library and this specific King of Pentacles, I think they want to share experiences with you, and they want to have a good give and take with you. They want to be able to give you things all the time, and they want you to be able to give them things. There's just this strong focus on gift giving and appreciation. And if your guys' love language is giving and receiving gifts, I think this person is right in line with that love language. I think they're going to love giving you gifts, especially with this King of Pentacles. I mean, this is a card of abundance and material security and being abundant within yourself. I feel like when you guys give each other gifts, it doesn't just affect your connection, it affects your lives. When they give you a gift, it affects your luck in your own life and the rest of and everything. It emanates outward, basically. So just you guys exchanging that back and forth of gift giving, one giving the gift to the other and vice versa, it creates an energetic field that just expands in your environment and creates a lot of positivity. I feel like on one level with the Eight of Cups, they want to travel with you places. With this burning bowl in the background, they want to they leave their past behind them. I feel like for some of you, this person, you might meet them in an area where they actually are living still in a place where they had a lot of their old habits or a lot of memories. Maybe when they visit a lot of places, maybe they had like a party in a hotel room or something, or they had some kind of thing go on with a certain situation in their life, and a lot of those moments, physical locations, remind them of those times. And so I see with you as their friend, they kind of want to move away with you, or they're thinking like, hey, how about we go and travel to, especially if both of you are single, right? I'm definitely seeing them like approaching you and being like, hey, let's move to France, or let's move to, Australia. That's the only place I can think of off the top of my head. But, let's move, if you're not in the United States and you're one of my international viewers, let's move to the US or something like that. There's something about you guys going off together or wanting to start a new life together as friends and kind of be roommates or something and meet your lovers or your significant others in that other country. I think you guys have a really close bond, almost like cousins or twins or something like that. And I definitely think you guys deal with conflict with each other in a very beautiful way. I think you both don't have ulterior motives. I think you teach them not to have ulterior motives. So they, when they're around you, they don't want to they're very open with you, basically. They tell you everything that they're desiring, everything that they're thinking, everything that they're wanting. There's just such an ability for you guys to connect in the truth of your conversation. If you're that type of person who's kind of concerned about, people lying to you or hiding things from you or trying to pull one over on you, this person will never do that. This person used to do that to get what they want, but because they met you, you're their shining example of not to do that. I might even say that you might have doubts sometimes about them not being truthful for you, but I guarantee you this person is always very truthful with you. They respect that aspect of you, and they really want to step up to the plate in that regard and meet you halfway, basically. They really do go through a rebirth with this bad spirit with a rebirth is assured. And the go the distance card is just such a strong indicator. They want you as a friend for the rest of their life. This is someone who wants to commit to you as a friend. They really believe in you and love you fully, so it's a very deep connection for a friendship. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe this person, you guys try to experiment with dating each other or something like that, and then realize you're just better off as friends. It might be one of those situations where it could be a little rocky if you try dating each other. But I wouldn't worry about it too much because it's just a transformation process, right? If you guys figure out you're not really clicking romantically. Just with go the distance here, it's interesting because I see that it's not going to be that big of a deal in the long run, maybe in the short run, but in the long run, they'll stick around. They'll be there for you. They're still going to be that solid soulmate through the end of time, through the end of your life, With this woman walking off into the sunset, I'm just kind of translating it to these two people walking off almost into a sunset. I just see this kind of beautiful connection for you guys with this particular soulmate. So that was the end of your reading. If you like this reading, please like or comment below. If you really enjoyed this reading, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I post pick a cards like this once every 1 to 2 weeks. And with that said, I'm going to move on to group 3 with the blue lace agate. Thank you guys so much for letting me read for you. Hey, group 3, this is if you picked the blue lace agate here. What a cool stone. I'm almost hitting you guys in the face with it. What a cool stone. This one looked really pretty to me today, so maybe that's significant. Maybe this is one of those readings that you just clicked on because you were like, you know what, that reading looks good today. So maybe you don't normally click on my channel, or maybe you wouldn't normally watch a reading like this, but if you clicked on it, maybe it was meant to be today, Let's see if that's true, and I'll get your cards out and we will get into your reading. So let's get a card for, first of all, you picked the koala spirit where it says spirit has a plan. So it makes sense that if maybe you were led here by kind of like an intuitive hunch, if that was the case. Please comment below and let me know. We also have, over here, we have healer and damsel. The way these readings have been turning out is like the transformation for both partners. I was gonna title this reading, about your soulmate. And I mean, the characteristics of your soulmate are coming through. It's just that their journey is coming through even stronger. So let's see. Let's pull some love story oracle cards. This is, to me, is going to give me the vibe of if this person is romantic or not, or a friendship soulmate, or what kind of soulmate this person is. It's interesting because the blue lace agate is a stone that's kind of soothing and calming. And it just had this beautiful glow about it tonight. And I think that's why I picked it in the reading. Okay, here comes your cards. Okay, this makes sense. We have effort and balance. Very cool. Sometimes my cards slip out, and I sometimes I feel they're like, stop talking. But maybe that's not what they're trying to tell me. I don't know. I don't know if you guys work with tarot yourselves, but sometimes cards can have a very snarky attitude towards you. Like if you're in the wrong mindset to do a reading or something like that, sometimes the cards can be like, like give you very obvious information or something like that. It's like, especially like when I do my own readings, sometimes I struggle compared to doing readings for others, just because cards will give me a, okay, this one wants to come out. We have chaos and conflict. Interesting. Wow. This is such a cool, I'm really glad I get to read for this pile. Now I'm gonna pull some tarot cards. I don't know why I feel like there's a lot of you like in this pile are new to my channel maybe. I don't know why I'm feeling that kind of vibe. But if you are, welcome. Okay, let's get your cards out. And I think I know this is weird, but the very last card, I feel like I have to shuffle one more time to pull the last card. I'm gonna pull second from the bottom. And I'm just gonna pull a Crystal Wisdom's card and then we'll get right into the reading. Let's see what Crystal Wisdom card wants to come out for group 3 with the blue lace agate. Okay, we have Amber. My ancestors are guiding and loving me now and always. I'm open to receive their support and wisdom. And the card looks like that. It looks kind of like this beautiful kind of sun energy. If the sun was a planet, oh my gosh. If the sun was a planet, I think that's what the sun would look like, you know? So really cool looking stone. At least that image is very cool looking. Let's see. Let me flip over your tarot cards. We have the Ace of Cups, the Moon card. We have the Six of Swords. Then over here we have the Magician, very cool. The Page of Pentacles, nice. And the Four of Cups. God, this is one of those groups, one of those piles where it's like, on the reading for one part, on one hand, I'm like so sure of what this reading's about. And then on the other hand, there's just like some little ephemeral parts of it that I'm like not seeing fully the way that like I need to see them to give the reading. So give me one more second to keep looking. Okay, I'm just gonna get into the reading because, wow, okay, so there's a lot of things coming through for this group. So let's just get right into it. The first thing about your soulmate, what is your soulmate like and stuff. First and foremost, they are a healer. Most of these readings have kind of gone from their past to their future. So one thing about your soulmate and kind of their journey into meeting you and becoming who they're going to be with you is this soulmate was a healer, right? But the thing is with this effort card, it would require them a lot of effort to heal others. So this person that they have a really high and strong heart chakra, but they really suffered from people who were kind of just needy and constantly needing healing all the time, right? For them, they really enjoy what they do. They really enjoyed healing people on a really deep level. They enjoyed healing others. They enjoyed helping them. They enjoyed healing them through their suffering. But the thing is it was taking a lot of effort. It was draining their energy. With the Moon and the Six of Swords, this comes, this healing ability for them came with a lot of pain. It came with a lot of suffering. The Moon can represent the nighttime, right? And, a few things happen at night, right? When the full moon is out, it illuminates all the darkest parts of the earth, right? And those dark parts of the earth are parts that are always like hidden in people's psyches, right? The Moon card represents this idea of the subconscious and the subconscious fears and stuff like that. One thing they do with this full moon being present here is they really shine a light on a lot of people's inner darkness, essentially. Now, with the Moon card, it's interesting. when they shone this light on others, it's like with the tide here and the water representing this woman drowning in here, it's like when they would be that full moon for others, other people could see all their dark areas and would be fine and happy and stuff. But for them, when they were shining this light or being that beacon of light for others, it was almost like they would be drowning. It's like the tide would come up and they'd be fighting. They'd be trying to swim and they'd be struggling and they'd be like falling into the depths of this water, right? So even though they're healing others, it was a great personal sacrifice to their own health, right? This happens with things. I've seen this in my own life. For example, how do I put this? I still draw, but okay, here, let me just tell you the story. Every once in a while when I would draw and create art, I would do this thing where I would draw without conscious thought, and then I would create images from those drawings. And so one thing that I learned on my end of life is that I really struggled making art because it was driving me mad. Like I would get crazier and crazier the more art I made. And the one thing that, is interesting about this person, it's like the more people they healed, the crazier and crazier they got. Or the more with the moon card, it created this sense of lunacy or struggle or drowning. They were just very, very lost. And they were in a very dark place because they were constantly trying to heal others. And it wasn't their mission. It's not necessarily their destiny, but somewhere along the way they thought, I'm going to turn this thing that I kind of enjoy every once in a while into something that's going to be my forever project. That's kind of what happened with me with art too. It's like when I was trying to be an artist and stuff, I thought, okay, this is going to be my forever project. I'm just going to make art all the time, and that's going to be my life. But it turned out that, I, really can do tarot more often than art and not feel mentally, exhausted or not feel mental. I like tarot makes me feel physically tired sometimes, but not mentally or psychologically like I'm drowning in the subconscious waters of my own mind, like this person feels. It's like as they're healing other, it's like that tide is rising up, right? And they're just kind of like drowning and suffering and all this emotion and trauma and stuff like that. The thing is, they do love healing others. This started out as a good journey. This started out as something they thought had a lot of promise, but they really learned that through this journey that it required so much effort. It required so much struggle. It's like, it's hard to explain, but the moon is not the sun, right? The sun is the ultimate source of kind of shifting darkness into light, right? Like the sun is the ultimate healer, right? You can think of the sun as the ultimate healer. The moon person is very intuitive, right? They're very intuitive, but the thing is the moon can only shine so much to illuminate the darkness before it has to turn back into a new moon. And the night, the thing is with the darkness and this healing aspect, there's certain things, the subconscious is dark for a reason, right? Like it's dark for a reason because at nighttime when there's no light, it's like meant to be that time where like things can kind of, that live in the night can rejuvenate themselves. So on the flip side of this healer person, it's like they just can't be the sun. They're the moon. They kind of reflect the sun's light and provide, and that's kind of where you come in, where I'm going to get into that in a second. They're more like the moon, right? They reflect the sun's light to heal others, but they can't do it all on their own. They need that full blast of sunlight to help with the healing process. And that's where you come in. I want to get a little bit more into their struggles, but because we're going into that sun moon thing, I want to really get into that right now. And that's kind of interesting that we had this amber card, right? I think this amber card, more so than talking about your ancestors or their ancestors guiding them, this amber card, the fact that I saw it as a sun and it looked like the sun if the sun was a planet, I think that's kind of representative of what you provide them. I think on one hand, you're providing them that ability, that stability, and that light that kind of heals them, right? Like it's interesting because it's like they were trying to be this healer and they were kind of good at it. They enjoyed it. But the truth is you as a person are more the natural healer, because with the magician card, it's interesting. The magician is represented by the number 1, and 1 is all about independence. It's about manifestation, initiation. And, the magician in a way deals with, there's some symbolism to the sun card is all I'm going to say with that. And so it's kind of in a way like you have this ability with them to balance them out. We see this again here with the balance card, right? And so when they meet you, there is this sense of balance. And with the damsel here, it's interesting. They learn kind of through meeting you that they can be a damsel in distress, that they kind of are a damsel in distress. They think they're the strong healer, and they've been kind of ignoring this fact that they're just struggling. They're like really in deep with this water and this subconscious stuff, and they're really struggling trying to heal all these people and trying to really push their efforts and their abilities to the limit. And the thing is, there's so much effort, there's so much struggle, there's so much pain in their journey, and they don't need it. With the Six of Swords card, it's interesting. They come out of this journey, like when they decide to leave this ability behind, it's with deep regret, because I feel like on one hand, they thought it was their purpose. They thought being a healer was their purpose. And they leave with such deep regret because they couldn't really heal themselves, right? And that's the interesting thing, is they go through with this chaos and conflict card. This is kind of the card of transformation for them. This chaos and conflict, they really start digging into their own subconscious mind, and they start trying to heal themselves. And what they find there is a lot of chaos, a lot of conflict, a lot of kind of confusion. But it's interesting. If you notice on this chaos and conflict card, there's a few things happening. First of all, the background, it is a sunset or a sunrise. It's in the twilight period, right before night and daytime, right? They're right on the precipice of kind of finding that balance with you over here with the balance card, in kind of creating that peace, right? So chaos and conflict is kind of indicating this time or this shift. And we also have the number 33 here. And the way I'm thinking of 33 is kind of like a sense of, with the Empress card being represented by 3, I think there's a sense of empowerment that's coming with this transformation, in a sense of like, in a sense, divine intervention, but at the same time, it's more like a sense of them digging into themselves and finding this sense of empowerment within themselves and healing themselves, And it's interesting that it's a twilight time, right? Where the sun and moon are just about to come into the same period, because I'm seeing this indicator with the Magician over here. It's kind of like you're bringing the power into the relationship, or you're bringing that vivacious vibe, or you're bringing that energy into the connection that really just illuminates their struggles or their traumas. I definitely think that with this card looking like it's in the desert, I think that part of their job is to dry up a lot of these waters that are kind of crushing their sense of being. It's like there's too much intuitive energy around them. And with this sun card, you have a way of kind of blasting that intuitive energy out and giving them a chance to breathe again. I mean, they're really finally able to kind of like breathe. It's interesting because with the Six of Swords, she's on a boat and she's going through the sea, and there's these birds helping her. But the main thing with this is that she has to it's like Noah's Ark in a sense. It's like her whole life was flooded, or his whole life was flooded with this healer energy. Whoever this was, their life was kind of in shambles, and they just were struggling. The cool thing about this with Damsel, it's like they go into this period where they know they need help, and they kind of try to help themselves. But I really see with this chaos and conflict, with the Magician card, you just shining this beautiful light on their situation. And it's kind of like with the Balance card, it's that part of their life where they realize that night does turn into day and the sun does come up. And the fact that they get to see the sun, it's one of those moments where it's like the sun's in the sky at the same time the moon's in the sky, and you can kind of see both wherever you're sitting, They kind of see this part of their life, and they see this sense of balance when they meet you. And there's this beautiful effect of like feeling whole, or feeling like they've met their other half. I feel like this group, if you ever relate to songs about the sun and the moon, if there's any song that represents kind of like, there's a lot of songs that talk about this, that, I'm the sun, you're the moon, that kind of thing. This is kind of the story of you and your soulmate. For a lot of you, this is a romantic partnership. I'm going to be honest with you. This is something that is deeper than just a friendship. This is kind of a romantic vibe. We didn't really have that with the other piles. The other piles could have gone either way, but I'm definitely seeing with this Balance card, there is a sense of wholeness with this person. I feel it would be hard for you guys to be anything but romantic with each other. For a very rare few of you, if you are, if you resonate with being asexual or something like that, this is probably someone that maybe you still have that romantic vibe with, but you don't have the sexual connection with. But for a lot of you, you're going to want to merge heart and soul with this person, you know? I think in this chaos and conflict where they're kind of seeing all the conflict and chaos fade away, like these stripes on the zebra that aren't them, you know? If you look at this zebra, like the zebra has zebra stripes underneath, if you can kind of see that, but they're on the surface, they're a giraffe, right? Or they're painted in giraffe. It's like they need to peel off the part of themselves that's not really truly them, you know? They've been trying to be this healer when in truth, you guys, the ones that are with this person, are the healer. You're the true healer. You're the true, like, ones that can kind of shine the light on all that darkness and not suffer at all, because I mean, you're as powerful as the sun, you know? I feel like it's interesting because you're such a representation of what they wanted at one point in their life and what they no longer have to fight for because you're that beacon now in their life. With this Page of Pentacles cards, I feel like this person feels like a student around you, or someone who is kind of like a little seed that needs nurturing and growth from the sun. You know, it's like, on one hand, I feel like just on a regular level, you know, I know I'm using all these metaphors for this pile, but with the Page of Pentacles, it's interesting because I'm seeing that you guys might enjoy learning things together. You might like studying different subjects together or learning different things. You might engage in different business projects together and find different creative ways to make money. I also see that one thing that you kind of get them focused on is you get them focused on more of a practical approach to life, and they're learning this new practical approach, and I feel like it's their destiny to learn how to be more practical and more, how do I put this, good with money and finances and wealth management and stuff like that. All that stuff that's like the basics of life that they were actually really, really good at, but somewhere along the line, they thought because they had this loving heart, they had to really put their all into helping people. This money management stuff, it's funny, comes to them with very little effort. It's like they really don't have to do that much to manifest this. And I think with the Magician card paired up right next to this, it's like your ability to manifest really goes a long way in this connection. I almost did finger quotes for long way. I don't know why, because it really is one of those situations where your manifesting abilities, kind of like how you desire things, really reflects in their life. It's kind of with the Balance card, you being the sun to their moon. It's like when your light shines on them, they glow really brightly and they're more powerful, basically. And so I definitely see that this is one of those connections where I see you guys kind of just being together for the rest of your lives. I think this is a soulmate that you've had many, many lifetimes with, especially because all these planetary influences are coming through and this beautiful like planet orb thing came out. I definitely think this is like a celestial relationship. So I feel like if you guys weren't like star seeds in, you know, this lifetime, you probably definitely were in like a long, long time ago. And then you've had many, many lifetimes on this planet since you've come here, and you've kind of had this, you know, connection. I think in different lifetimes, I feel like for a lot of you who chose this pile, you didn't struggle as much as this person did. And I think it alternates. Every other life you have, like, you would either struggle a lot and they save you, or vice versa. I think that kind of comes into the period because Damsel's coming in here. I think one of the things is that you're meant to save them from a lot of this chaos and conflict. You're meant to shine the light of truth on their skin and show them truthfully what their stripes really are. You know, they're not a giraffe, they're a zebra. You know, it's like their true stripes are coming through. One thing I think you also teach them, last I want to get into this real quick before we end the reading. With the Four of Cups here, the one thing that I want to get into is you teach them how to turn the other cheek when someone needs healing. Because I feel like they attract a lot of needy people. They attract a lot of people who really want to be healed, and, you know, and they keep coming to this person, you know, because, you know, it's one of those things. I feel like you get them to kind of, when you guys are in your relationship together, I feel like, you know, in a way there might be a conversation you have or something. I'm not really sure how it comes about, but eventually the dynamic between both of you is they kind of sit quietly and they don't really say too much, and they kind of casually, aloofly ignore the person that they're dealing with who wants healing from them. And especially if you're in the room, it works very well because then you get to shine your sunlight on this person and their things get to be healed. It's interesting how people come to them for healing, but you're the one with the healing power. You might even realize watching this reading that you have this healing power over people's lives, but maybe you're not using it because people don't come to you. It's like, You know, people can look at the moon. That's the thing. People can look at the moon, but they can't look at the sun. So the thing that they don't realize is they need the sun's warmth. They need the sun's light, but they're coming to the moon. They're going towards the moon. The moon is the thing that they're attracted to. So you kind of teach this person, just like the moon, to fade into like black, or go into their where this other person can't see them, and then you shine the light. So you guys have this tag team effect where they kind of draw on the people to be healed and you heal them. This could also work with Page of Pentacles with business connections, where maybe someone comes to them with like a proposal or something, and because with the magicians can be more of a leadership vibe, you know, they have more sun energy. So the moon's more supportive energy. It's like you might have the more wherewithal to take charge of this situation, where your partner might be good with all the money management and stuff like that, but they might still play a more supporting role to you. Yeah, I really think it's beautiful. You really save them. You also really show them with the magician here that spirit does have a plan, the koala spirit. And one thing that I'm seeing, interestingly enough, a little thing about koalas that's interesting is when they eat eucalyptus leaves, you know, other animals can't eat it, but they can. You know, they're the only animal that can stomach this particular type of leaf. And I see that's definitely true with both of you. It's like their poison is something that you can just take on over and over again and not have any issues with, you know? It's like you have such strength, you know, coming into this, and you really save them from a lot of their darkness and their suffering. And honestly, I don't think it takes that much effort from you. I think you're just kind of your normal, natural, fun-loving, happy self, and it just kind of erases it, you know, and it's a really beautiful thing. I'm going to end the reading there. If you enjoyed this reading, feel free to like or comment below. If you really enjoyed this reading, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I post pick a cards like this once every 1 to 2 weeks. With that said, that's the last reading for today, so I'm going to end the readings there. I really enjoyed reading for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next pick a card. Bye.